So, what became very apparent this year is that luxury no longer controls fashion culture by itself. Distribution does. And when I say distribution, I don't just mean stores and retailers. I mean attention. I mean influence. I mean who gets seen and who gets shared, who gets talked about, and ultimately who drives the sale. That's what matters right now. This year at the Met, I actually thought people were dressed pretty well. There were a lot of looks that felt interesting at first glance, but the more you look into them, the more depth you could find. Um, the details mattered, the references mattered, the styling mattered. There was metalwork, historical inspiration, brand storytelling, and all of these little decisions that made outfits feel layered instead of just loud. But one of the biggest things that stood out to me was seeing brands like Gap and Zara on the red carpet. Gap had Kendall Jenner and Bad Bunny. Zara had Stevie Nicks. And that says a lot because the Met Gala used to feel like a space completely controlled by luxury houses. It was heritage brands, couture houses, and who had access to that world. But now the conversation is shifting. The brands that understand culture, attention, and distribution are finding their way into rooms that used to be closed off. And then you have someone like Wisdom K being at the Met this year, which speaks volumes because Wisdom represents something different. He represents the new fashion authority, not authority given by an institution, but authority earned through taste, consistency, and the ability to move culture online. That is the shift. The old way of being, the old way of doing things was about permission. You had to be invited in. You had to be approved by the right editors, the right stylists, the right luxury houses, the right gatekeepers. But now, attention is its own form of access. If people are watching you, if they trust your taste, if your point of view is strong enough, you can create a lane for yourself. And that lane can become just as powerful as the traditional fashion system. So when we see Gap, Zara, influencers, and digital fashion voices showing up in spaces like the Met Gala, it tells us something important. Fashion is no longer only being shaped from the top down. It's being shaped from the feed, from the street, from the algorithm, from the communities, and from the people who know how to create desire in real time. And that to me is what this moment is really about. It's not just about who wore the most expensive outfit. It's about who created the strongest conversation. It's about who understood the assignment culturally. It's about who made people stop, look, think, and share. Luxury still matters, of course. Of course it does. But luxury is no longer the only engine. Attention is the engine now. Distribution is the engine now. And the brands and people who understand that are the ones shaping where fashion goes next.